Are you struggling to traverse the scope of a path in a Babel plugin? You're not alone. Today, we're diving into a common challenge that many developers face when writing Babel plugins. I totally get it. Writing a Babel plugin can be tricky, especially when you're trying to navigate through nested visitors. It can feel like you're lost in a maze of code. But don't worry, we're here to help you find your way. Here's the specific question we're addressing today. One user asked how to traverse a matched node with a nested visitor to find all require calls for a specific module. They want to transform their code from requiring a module to a hard-coded value. Sound familiar? Let's explore this together. So what's the issue here? The user is trying to traverse the scope to find all instances of a specific require call and then apply a transformation. This can be challenging due to the way Babel handles scopes and visitors. Let's break it down step by step. And stick around. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear understanding of how to effectively traverse nodes in Babel plugins, plus a handy tip to make your coding smoother. To begin traversing the scope of a path in a Babel plugin, the user should ensure they are correctly identifying the require calls. This involves checking if the callee name is require and if the argument is the correct module name. Next, the user should capture the local identifier from the require call. This identifier will be used to traverse the scope and find instances where the required module is called. Now the user needs to traverse the scope using the captured local identifier. This is done by calling the traverse method on the scope and checking for identifiers that match the local identifier. Finally, the user should ensure that the transformation is applied correctly. This means replacing the call to the local identifier with the desired value, which in this case is 99. Fun fact, did you know that Babel was originally created to help developers use the latest JavaScript features without worrying about browser compatibility? It's a powerful tool that keeps evolving. Now, let's look at the answers provided by other users. An alternative approach suggested by a user involves using nested traversals. They recommend utilizing the node.scope.traverse method to change call expressions specifically within a try statement. This allows for targeted transformations based on the context of the code. That's all for that response. Let's see what someone else had to say. An alternative approach, shared by another user, involves simplifying the traversal of the scope. Instead of using path_scope.traverse, they suggest storing the local identifier when a require call is found. Then, they directly check if the callee matches this identifier and replace it with a numeric literal. Let's take a look at an answer from another user. An alternative approach suggested by a user involves traversing the parent scope to search for a specific node. They provide a function called inScope that checks if a node exists in the current scope or any parent scopes. Here's a pro tip. Always double-check your paths and identifiers when working with Babel plugins. A small oversight can lead to big headaches down the line. And there you have it. With these tips, you should be able to traverse the scope of a path in your Babel plugin with ease. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe for more coding tips and tricks.